3,000 products, customized solutions from design to delivery. NRB is one of the very few companies of its size with a AA- Crystal Standard & Poor's rating.
They care. They care about their people, they care about their customers, and they care about being the best company they can be in the market.
Today, we custom engineer friction solutions for Audi, for Daimler Car, Daimler Truck, for GetDrag, for Meritor, and for ZF globally.
No wonder then that NRB high precision parts have been powering vehicles all around the globe and will continue to do so from now into the future. Because we at NRB have always had our bearings right.
Our people. Tubathex Group, sharing.
Made for ideas, made for passion, made for technology, made for tomorrow, made for business. Welcome to Magnetic Maharashtra, the one state in India that is truly made for business. Over 33,000 kilometers of highways, future-ready ports, airports, and metros. Infrastructure that's made for business. The largest pool of skilled, educated, and employment-ready human resources in India. Employees who are made for business. Where economic, social, and environmental development go hand in hand. Sustainability that's made for business. The state where tomorrow is already happening today. Future readiness that's made for business. Welcome to Maharashtra.
Chairman, if we can start.
Good morning, or maybe, good morning, everyone. And first of all, I'd like to welcome Mr. Subhash Desai, Honorable Minister, Industry, Mining, Government of Maharashtra. He would be actually joining only a video recording he will give because he is in a cabinet meeting just now. Dr. Anbalagam, Chief Executive Officer, Maharashtra Industry Development Corporation. Mr. Sunil Mathur, Chairman, CII Western Region. Mr. B. Tyagarajan, Deputy Chairman, CII Western Region. Mr. Sudhir Mutalik, Vice Chairman, CII Maharashtra State Council. Past Presidents, CII, Past Presidents, Chairmen of Western Region. Past Chairman, CII Maharashtra, Jain, Asim, distinguished guests. Friends and fraternities, CII members, eminent speakers, and participants. Once again, good morning to all of you. I welcome you all here today to the conference on gearing up Maharashtra for the next normal, reset business for growth beyond COVID-19. The COVID-19 pandemic has presented the world with one of the most perplexing challenges in recent times, unmatched in scale and impact. It has not only taken huge toll on human lives and the healthcare system, but also cost the global economy millions of dollars and resulted in loss of innumerable jobs. The situation in Maharashtra is no different. The state faced immense challenges in controlling the spread with rise in the number of cases and fatalities. But with the launch of COVID vaccine has come a ray of hope. Today, India is running world's largest vaccination program and in a short period of time, millions of Indians have been vaccinated. Government is highly committed to make the inoculation program a great success, and this is reflected in the high budget allocation on health and well-being, which has soared by 137% in the financial year 21-22 to 2.35 lakh crores compared to the budgeted spending of 2021. As the country seeks to boost the capacity of its healthcare system to detect and cure new and emerging disease in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. But when pandemic crisis has been tamed, big challenges would be to immediately relaunch the global economy, the government's business and communities navigate this crisis. The focus is increasingly turning to recovery, reopening, and eventually returning to the next normal. In order to prepare Maharashtra for the next normal, the emphasis needs to be laid on building a resilient, sustained, competitive, and progressive ecosystem. This will make the state of Maharashtra truly magnetic for investments across the globe, which in turn can be the right instrument to restart the state engine. In order to regain robust growth momentum for the state of Maharashtra, industry, be it miners, manufacturers, service providers, retailers, or wholesalers, will have to gear up for a world where the old norms will have to be reframed. These measures will ensure business and economy to grow beyond COVID-19. The deliberations that is scheduled today later is based on the theme Gearing Up Maharashtra for the Next Normal, Reset Businesses for Growth Beyond COVID-19. It will deliberate on ways to transform Maharashtra economy so that it retains the position as the most dynamic and prosperous state of India. I am sure you will have good time to hear and great takeaways from this session today. Thanks all of you for joining. First, I would request Mr. B. Tyagarajan, Deputy Chairman, CII Western Region and Managing Director, Blue Star, to deliver his address, please.
Thank you, Arvind. Dr. Anbalagan, Mr. Sunil Mathur, Chairman, CII Western Region, Mr. Arvind Goyal, Mr. Sudhir Matalik, past President CII, past Chairperson CII Western Region, past Chairperson CII Maharashtra, Jain, Asim, distinguished guests, friends from fraternity, CII members, eminent speakers, and the participants. Dr. Anbaragan, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation. It's a pleasure to have you here, sir. We look forward to your address. I also wish to thank the Honorable Minister for Industries, Mining, Government of Maharashtra, Sri Subhas Desai, whose address we will be listening to over a recorded video file a little while later. Thank you, Chairman, for inviting me to address the annual session of CII Maharashtra and conference on gearing up Maharashtra for the next normal, reset businesses for growth beyond COVID-19. You had explained about the challenges we faced during 2020. The pandemic is still on. And at this juncture, I would like to compliment the Maharashtra government for tackling this virus. It exceeded our expectations. I would recall the very first milestone of containing the pandemic in Dharavi area. Subsequently, we are all aware that we were impatient about the duration of the lockdown. Every time announcement comes from the center, Maharashtra will take little more than the other states to open up in that phased opening up protocols. But in retrospect, I am grateful to the government. I think we did the right thing, and the Mumbai specifically could escape from the severe hospitalization or the fatalities. And I wish to place on record our gratitude on behalf of our members to the Maharashtra government for doing that. I also wish to compliment Dr. Anbalagan. I recall during the lockdown period itself, along with the minister, they started the process of inviting investments in the state. We worked closely with them over several sessions, I recall, and we continue to be the state which attracts investments continuously. My association with Dr. Anbalagan goes over beyond around 5 years of time. I recall his contribution in Magnetic Maharashtra or Partnership Summit and the various MADC related programs that we would have organized. And for the benefit of members, I must tell you that the three things that stands out are under Dr. Anbalagan's leadership, the exclusive and the unique model of appointing a government coordinator if you are investing. The second one is that he is available all the time, and the MIDC performs like a private sector organization. At any point of a time, you can take the liberty to disturb him and ask for his intervention. It happens. The third one is, which I keep telling in other states also, specifically in the South, you can identify a land for your investment and you can get it routed through MIDC. He has offered it in many forums. So therefore, we are blessed to have one industrial development corporation in this state, which is conducive for doing business. And we are, as members of CII, benefit from MIDC's good work. Of course, we keep going back to him, often complaining about the power prices. That is one of the issues which they are doing their best to resolve as well. The COVID-19 vaccination program, again, that is, I'm closely involved with that. I thought there will be many hiccups, but from day one, it is happening. I'm happy to note that hundreds of my friends got vaccinated without going through any hassles. Again, in a state which is a big one and a city which is thickly populated, the government is doing a great job. That gives us the hope, and the economic revival is much more than what we anticipated. This is a time which cannot be lost. Businesses who will step up to acknowledge the challenges, realize the new normal and reconfigure their offerings according to the current needs of business will be better prepared to confront the challenges of the next normal. We all would expect the economy not only to get back on track and start running, but also becoming stronger and more resilient in the process. And we are working with the government through the task force to make it happen. The leaders should not fall into the trap of deriving to go back to January or February 2020, but should be brave to reimagine, rewire, and reset their organizations to seize the opportunities thrown open by this unprecedented pandemic. They have to think very differently, reshape their portfolio, and plan to do things quite differently as the future unfolds. Maharashtra needs to emphasize on building a resilient, sustained, and competitive and progressive ecosystem to be magnetic for investment across the globe, which in turn can be right instrument to restart the state's engine, which has begun, and I am sure the coming year, the state will attract much more investments than in 2020-21. Maharashtra is an important state for Western region as well as the country and the industry, be it manufacturing, services, or technology, all need to gear up for the next normal and reset their businesses for putting Indian economy back on track. This puts a huge responsibility on industries in Maharashtra to bring about the changes and reforms to make the state a better place for businesses and in turn revive the national economy. I want to assure the industries minister and Dr. Anbalagan, as CII, we will be working with them closely and deliver what he expects us to deliver. I wish all the members a wonderful day at the conference today and hope that you have great takeaways from the session. Thank you. Back to you, Arvind.
Chairman, you're on mute.
Sorry. Thank you, Tyag, for your comments and insight. And now I will request Mr. Sunil Mathur, Chairman CII Western Zone, Managing Director and CEO of Siemens India, to please address us.
Thank you, Arvind. Dr. Anbalagan, CEO MIDC, Mr. Tyagarajan, Mr. Arvind Goel, Mr. Sudhir Mutalik, past President CII, past Chairman CII Western Region, past Chairman CII Maharashtra, Jane, Asim, distinguished guests, friends from industry, CII members, eminent speakers, and participants. Good morning to everyone. It's really a pleasure to be a part of the CII Maharashtra annual session and conference on gearing up Maharashtra for the next normal, reset businesses for growth beyond COVID-19. Couldn't have been a more topical subject at this point in time. The pandemic really unleashed a series of fundamental changes across the whole spectrum of business. This has prompted companies to rethink ways to operate in the backdrop of changing demands from the various stakeholders, including customers, employees, regulatory bodies. Consumers embraced e-shopping as brick and mortar retail operations were shut. Technology and digital infrastructure projects were delivered in weeks to support operations of companies digitally, and the same was embraced in no time to ensure continuity and efficiency. Many companies experienced acceleration in operational speed and higher efficiency on the back of digitalization and use of advanced technologies in operations. In April 2020, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said, "We've seen 2 years worth of digital transformation in 2 months." And that was already in April 2020. I think after a year, we've probably seen double that time in terms of 4 years, possibly, of worth of digitalization, and literally in 6 months. A McKinsey survey published in October 2020 reported that companies are 3 times likelier than they were before the crisis to conduct at least 80% of their customers' interactions digitally. Supply chain vulnerabilities of companies globally were exposed due to the pandemic. Higher dependence on global supply chains, entire production schedules off track as micro or macro level shutdowns happened across countries. Healthcare is another area that saw major transformation, with telehealth, biopharma gaining prominence. And the pandemic is sure to induce a massive acceleration in the pace of medical innovation backed by the Union of Biology and Technology. So there's no doubt that businesses will need to be dynamic and be very open to adapt in the new normal. Now, I think our experience, and my experience has been over the last year or so, we have gone through a phase of shock. We got through into a phase of resigned recognition of what was happening. And then we started a phase of growth again. And I think over the last 12 months, it's been extremely difficult for many companies, particularly small and medium enterprises, who have had to struggle with lack of demand in the system, lack of available financing, increased costs due to electricity and utilities and salary costs. But I think the biggest challenge has been lack of demand that most companies have had as the pandemic brought things to a standstill. Over a period of time, There were also issues like returning migrant labor who went back into their villages. There were issues of lives and livelihood. And here I think I would really like to commend the state of Maharashtra and in particular Dr. Anbalagan for the terrific work that he has led and that the Maharashtra state CII actually spearheaded here in terms of relief measures for industry at large, for addressing a whole lot of relief measures during that period of time. I recall many conversations I have had with Dr. Anbalagan over the last year or so, where he's been very, very insistent on quickly finding the right solutions, finding the right technical equipment, ventilators, and so on, as soon as possible in different parts of the state. I think it is at times like this when you really begin to appreciate how much people like Dr. Anbalagan have really spent time, effort, and energy, and indeed the entire state machinery has spent time, energy, and really gone out of their way to ensure that there is adequate protection provided. Now, Maharashtra did have the highest number of cases, and over a period of time, they were very, very cautious, as Mr. Tyagarajan mentioned, and rightly so. I think over a period of time, it has demonstrated that even at the peak of the time over here, Maharashtra has managed, in spite of all the challenges, to keep things under control. Um, for industry, it was indeed a challenging time. Supply chains were blocked with the lockdown. It was unpredictable which part of the state would have lockdowns. It was unpredictable across the country. But as the lockdowns lifted in a very cautious manner, I must say, here in the state, again, very well managed, um, businesses slowly started returning to normal. The challenge, however, continued to remain. How do you infuse demand back into the system? Now, one of the things that the government recognized very early is that the basic way of infusing demand back into the system would be revitalizing public spending on infrastructure and, of course, healthcare. Now, with the recent announcements in infrastructure and healthcare, I do believe that as government starts spending on roads, on bridges, on railways, on metros, on airports, and spending on capital expenditure in these areas, on hospitals, a lot of that will flow through down into the private sector. Private sector manufacturing is currently running at around 60% capacity utilizations. And as infrastructure, government spending in infrastructure and healthcare does pick up, this will trickle down into the private sector. And indeed, because large infrastructure projects usually engage a whole lot of small and medium enterprises as well, this will benefit MSMEs down the food chain as well. So this is something that is a terrifically welcome move by the government in focusing on infrastructure and healthcare. Now, when we look at Maharashtra, the recent signing of 5 MOUs on data centers, together with the CII, has demonstrated the keenness that the state has in really translating these opportunities into the state of Maharashtra. A very critical part of infrastructure will be MIDC here in the state. And therefore, I'm really delighted that we do have Dr. Anbalagan here spearheading that activity. Infrastructure, as infrastructure flows into the state, the role and significance of MIDC will be hugely relevant to ensure that this infrastructure is translated into ease of doing business and actually takes realization in the state of Maharashtra. With this, I have absolutely no doubt that the translation of that in terms of better infrastructure in the state flowing down into increased spending into the private sector and into small and medium enterprises will kick off as well. So I would like to wish the state of Maharashtra all the very best, and really thank Dr. Anbalagan for the terrific work that he is doing together with the administration under the Honorable Chief Minister. And I do look forward to really resetting business here in the state of Maharashtra following the COVID vaccination rollout, and hopefully a return to what could be or will be a very new normal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sunil Mathur, for your insight, and thank you for elaborating on so many points, especially on the role of digitization, supply chain vulnerability, healthcare and transformation, and how to adopt new normal infrastructure and healthcare, and the various MOUs signed by the Maharashtra government on the 5 data centers. Certainly, Dr. Anbalagam has been a very supportive, and CI Maharashtra, we had at least 3 interactions with him at length, where he was always ready to know what is happening in the other parts of the world on the so that the MIDC new norms can be improved. We also suggested to him a plug and play type of industry setups to be made in the MIDCs for small scale industry, even residential areas to be created so that the labor can be hosted there, etc. And he had very kindly agreed to most of the suggestions. We are really obliged that Dr. Anbalagam, Chief Executive Officer, Maharashtra Industry Development Corporation, has joined us today, and we request him to please address us all.
Thank you so much for all the good words, Goel Sahab. Very warm welcome and very good morning to all my friends from industry, Mr. B. Tyagarajan, Sunil ji, and also Mr. Sudhir ji, and all my friends from industries. So really indeed, like I always pleased to interact with all of you, because you are really a practitioners of industry, and you bring not only wealth and also the lot of employment, and really you bring in change to the country. With like slowly agriculture is going back to like maybe a percentage of people to be impacted on, it's going to be like on a lower side. So industry, typically manufacturing and services, are going to play a very dominant role in this coming era. So really, I would say, because there is not no need to mention about what exactly the state and the MIDC does for the industry. The state has a lot of flexibility to accommodate the changing requirements of industry. Be it like purchase a land for them, like do a due diligence, as like Mr. Tyagarajan mentioned. That way, like we are highly flexible. At the outset, I would like place my like all my appreciation and gratitude towards the generosity shown by industries towards the CSR activities, typically during the COVID. We have done so much, more than like 1,500 crores, but MIDC, through MIDC alone, we have done more than 300 crores. Literally, to some extent, I used to contact with like Sunil. Literally, it's like more like a harassment. Every day I used to follow up with them. Kab milega? I have like 50 ventilators. So it's like we have set up a private office, and of course, we was very generous, and he had given like more than what I expected. So that way, we had a tremendous thing. Secondly, people also like was more generous in also contributing for food grains. Mumbai alone, we distributed 1,000 tons of food grains and pulses and oil. So Dharavi almost close to 500 tons. So we are also one of the part where like Dharavi has done phenomenally well as far as containment is concerned, because almost more than like a month's ration was provided wherever like it's possible. I'm happy to share that recently Invest India has done a more like a survey where investment promotions agencies are ranked, and Maharashtra has like expected topped, like it come in the like first in as far as like state of infrastructure and ease of like facilitating the business. And also we were ranked first in like employable talent, since the state recruits globally. I would say the state admits close to a million students post-metric, I would say post-higher secondary into various technical and non-technical and commerce and other stream. The state is also scored high on like export preparedness and innovation index. Like though we are at number 2, I think the state with all your assistance and help, we should be moving towards the top slot. Now, as of now, some of the like, as we all aware, during June, Honorable Chief Minister has launched Magnetic Maharashtra like 2.0 reforms, where phenomenally we have like a 4 components. One is like a plug and play infrastructure, where close to 40,000 acres of land is earmarked. Though trunk infrastructure, it will be for almost total area. As far as work centers are concerned, typically accommodating the MSMEs and also accommodating the captive vendors of the anchor units. The work set concept has been brought in the first phase, 450 sheds spreading across 6 regions and close to around 5,950 acres have been planned. We'll start with Butiburi, we'll come to Aurangabad, and we'll also do it in Amravati, like in Textile Park, and the fourth will be in Dindori, Nasik. So initially, the places where the land cost matters much for the MSMEs. So price sensitive markets like Nagpur, Nasik, Aurangabad have been taken care. Maybe second phase, then we'll go for Supa, Ranjangaon, and also Kalapur and Mangaon. So this is going to be really a game changer, and where the rentals are also placed close around 9 to 12 rupees, where the normal rentals are more than like 30 rupees, in some places even like 40 rupees. So this is going to be, and with also short-term rentals, short-term lease, the plot, I would say the allottee also can own the plot or maybe the workshed during the course of doing his business. Maybe after third year, fourth year, he can also buy the after paying the premium. Secondly, the Mahaparvana, the mega permit, because I also handle the pollution control board for like almost 4 years. There are cutting edge permissions of dish, pollution control board, fire, and maybe building plan. So this Mahaparvana is a major permit which takes care of like 20 plus departments and 100 odd permissions. 100 odd permissions. So the government guarantees in the form of LOI that pre-establishment and post like pre-commencement approvals are given on time. So the schedule annexure gives list of I would say list of approvals and the timeline prescribed. But this particular LOI also guarantees that the people can go ahead with the construction, except for the cases of environmental like I would say EC, environmental clearance, that hardly 2 to 3% of the work. So majority of 90 to 95% of the work can immediately start with this LOI. Parallelly, these approvals will come. The state is also mulling the Single Window Clearance Act. Most probably will also get through that. So you will get the deemed approval also if it is not approved. Third will be during the lockdown, we were all like witness to a lot of migration and there were like shortage in workforce. The state has started a professional like a private employment exchange type like a job portal. It's called Mahajobs. It's like you will be also like really thrilled to understand and also to know like more than 3.2 lakh applicants have already applied and registered, and more than 3,000 companies have registered with this portal, and 41,125 jobs have been advertised. So it was like typically it's a very difficult to run. So what we thought, we will hire a professional agency. So we hired one of the finest agency in the country. It's a Chennai based agency following the process. So we will be spending close to around 2,000 rupees uh, per person being hired, at least for to begin with for first 3 years. MADC will bear the cost. Suppose if some company is hiring like 1,000 guys or maybe 100 guys, so 100 into 2,000, 2 lakh I will be paying to the HR company. So not the company, not the firm will be paying. So this is one thing where also will take the what exactly the quality of workforce we have. Normally we supply them 1:2, 1:3. So they do the, now we are also going to do the preliminary screening. We will screen for them and we will give a select chunk, so that like they will, their work is also only like major, like I would say it's taken care of. And fourth, we have done this investor first program where we have done this basically the relationship manager and also relationship executive. We recruited a close young minds with MBAs and like other engineering and technical graduates as a Maharashtra investment fellows on a 2-year internship program with a like stipend of 50,000 per month. Fairly a good thing. And these close to 20 odd people will be there also to assist as a relationship executive. And the senior level officers are appointed as a relationship manager. So they will do all the hand holding. So any investment more than 100 crore is been given in the first phase, like relationship manager. So some of the things which the state should take care, like some of the thrust sectors, like emerging technologies. We all know IoT-based cars, embedded technologies, 3D printing, so we robotics, nanotechnology, data centers as well. So these sectors, fortunately, close to Mumbai, I am also getting quite a good land. Like Taloja, I'm getting around 900 acres. Kalapur, I'm getting 2,000 acres. Patalanga, I'm getting another 500 acres. Close to Thana, like Shapur, I'm getting another 1,000 acres. So even in like MMR and around, I'm getting around close to 5,000 acres. And also in Talegaon 4 and Talegaon 5, I'm getting around 5,000 acres. So these, particularly for all emerging technology, Pune, Mumbai and Nasik corridor can be a area where like we should be able to give them all that. I would say with whatever efforts and these initiatives, really we have done 3 editions of MOU, one in June, then another in November, last one was in December. So 14, 15 and another 25, like total 54 MOUs spread across like various countries and various sectors: data center, oil and natural gas, food processing, engineering, auto, defense, electronics, all that. So close to 1.12 lakh crores have investment been signed. Out of 54 companies, 36 companies have been already allotted or final stages of, some of them given offer and people paid the money. And 7 companies, particularly data centers, because we are mediating more like a bringing in a policy where unused land in MMR can be brought to data center and other allied sector. So I am foregoing my claims by 70%. So all the old plots, undeveloped plots, I'm saying whatever dues, I'm saying directly 70% discount. And the investment is more, even the transfer charges also been slashed from 10 to like 30% to 3%. So there also the MIDC is ready to forego only for like industries to come and these lands have to come. So out of 54, 43 companies are in the final stage and 36 companies are been already allotted. It's not a simple MOU, except the one company I will have a 99% conversion. That company is also in the final stage because of the change of CEO and other thing. So secondly, one thing which the state has done, traditionally developing an industrial estate. Now we are going for industrial cities. So new Talegaon, I would say electronic city, and also Mangaon high-tech city, then even Arik city, they're all going with a 60-40 ratio. Basically 60% will be industry and 40% be for the real estate component. Like housing, both like LIG, I would say the low income group, or maybe affordable housing, medium and also high income group. Even institutions, hospitals, basically medical facilities, education facilities, entertainment, all the basically social infrastructure, bringing in also good universities, good schools. So Talegaon engineering and electronic city, and also Mangaon high tech city, they're all based on the new DCR, I would say, phenomenal shift from MIDC thing. So these new coming cities will capture the housing needs in like Chakan, Talegaon, even and Ranjangaon. So these are things which like the state is like moving ahead. There are new developments coming up, or new parks. One is like Butiburi Defense Cluster in the form of like I would say plug and play model. It's being the final stage. Maybe this week we'll give an administrative approval. Second is an electronic manufacturing cluster. We got an anchor industry that will come in Ranjangaon phase 3. So maybe tomorrow, day or tomorrow, they will be getting a mega project status to the company. And also MedTech, basically medical and diagnostic equipments park is also coming up in Arik, Aurangabad, and also food park is also in Aurangabad. Then we also have a now bulk drug park coming up close to Revdanda, close to coast, where more than 5,000 acres of land being in the final stage of acquisition with the state-of-the-art environmental infrastructure. This year, happy to share that we are going for a massive haul up environmental infrastructure. Close to 3,500 crores have been planned, where like marine outfalls are planned, multiple effective evaporators, then solvent recovery like SRF solvent recovery plants, acid recovery plants, also bulk boilers. Basically places like Tarapur, Roha, you need a boilers 1 TPD, 2 PD. So I'm going for a 60 TPD directly. So I'll be removing the 30, so I would say 60 chimneys by only one chimney of 45 meters. So this will also give a cost factor, because to generate a 1 kg of steam, somewhere when the scale is low, 7 to 8 rupees. Now someone will be supplying at 2 rupees, like Malegaon. So Malegaon is also, we are looking for a sizing park where I'm going for a bulk boilers like 60, 60, 60. Like 180 if I'm having, I'll take her to 150 companies of Malegaon. So only there will be a single chimney of 60, I would say TPD. So that is the one thing which we are also taking up. The new areas which like I was mentioning, one is like Talegaon Engineering and Electronic City. Second is Ranjangaon Phase 3 is also coming up, where we are planning to have electronics and more like a genome valley type, biologicals. And Dindori is also being developed as a genome city, more like we are going to accommodate ZLD and also state of the environmental infra there. Then we also have a Kalapur engineering hub coming up. Taloja phase 2. It's also been, the payments have been distributed like 200 crore already I distributed. So we will be taking around 900 acres of land. There are already clients asking for 100 acres, 50 acres there. And Kardi is again being developed as a warehousing zone in Shahpur. It's on Agra highway, basically Mumbai Nasik highway. Then Mangaon city is also final stage of master planning and water supply is being done. And Balrak Park, which I mentioned, the state has given a different value proposition for that. It is given more like a Vidarbha status. So whatever is being invested there, like in Vidarbha, so you will claim even as MSME to all the major units will, they'll 100% of the GST refunds, and electricity will be supplied at 5.77. You will be getting a bulk steam suppliers, you will get a MW, all everything. So API maybe another 20 to 30%. You will have a formulation, you will have a biological, you will have a specialty chemical. So 5,000 acres have been there. Also area being developed at I would say Shahpur Derand, where like a major fertilizer manufacturer has already given an offer. Also an Indonesian company is given there also 3,000. That way, with your all assistance, with the trust which the state always had from investors, the state is like all out to like assist you in furthering your growth. Thereby we also grow. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
Thank you, Dr. P. Abalagam, for your address, and so many new initiatives taken under your leadership will certainly make Maharashtra the most magnetic and the most powerful state in the country, with 54 MOUs signed with 1.12 lakh crores investments, out of which 36 land major companies, the lands have been allotted, industrial cities coming in, and electronic city near Talegaon, where you will even have housing, educational institutes, hospitals. It's really, really fascinating to note so many activities being done across the state, and certainly the environment and sustainability is so important from the CII as a national theme, and Maharashtra government pumping in 3,500 crores for environmental infrastructure is really hats off to you and the state government. Thank you very much for addressing us. Now I will request the Secretariat to run the video of Shri Subhash Desai, Honorable Minister, Industries and Mining, Government of Maharashtra.
Very good morning to all CII members. I congratulate you on this occasion at this annual meeting. I remember almost every year during past few years, I attended your annual meeting. But this time, due to our assembly session, which is in progress now, I could not make it to attend your session physically. However, sentimentally, emotionally, we are so close that I could not miss it, at least through this virtual address. And I once again congratulate Mr. Arvind Goel for completing one successful year as a chairman of CII Maharashtra. CII has been working together with Government of Maharashtra on various topics. Your task force has been very helpful to Government of Maharashtra, and in the fields of pharmaceuticals, electronics, defense manufacture, you have contributed, and we are really happy to get the inputs whereby we could take our cause forward. Here, our engagement is becoming stronger year on year, and I am also happy that during these pandemic conditions, CII came forward with very strong help of healthcare equipment as well as food kits to the needy people. And CII has shown their bond with the society as usual. Your tele ICU projects in Aurangabad, Jalna, and Solapur is a wonderful initiative where I am sure the people, local people there and CII together can make their life meaningful. Once again, I congratulate CII and I am sure our joint efforts will take my state, Maharashtra, to the higher levels. Maharashtra is recognized as a magnetic state. We call it magnetic Maharashtra. And making Maharashtra magnetic and industrial developed state, CII's contribution is unforgettable. So once again, thank you so much for the continued support, and let us work together for upliftment of the society and our state. Thank you very much. Jai Maharashtra.
Was very thankful of Dr. Subhash Desai, Honorable Minister, Industry and Mining, Government of Maharashtra, to address us. The assembly session is going on, and there is a cabinet meeting going on. But he was able to send this video to us, which clearly shows his love, affection for CII, and he really values the contribution from CII. We certainly value a lot of his contribution for all what CII has been able to do. May I now request Mr. Sudhir Mutalik, Vice Chairman, CII Maharashtra State Council, and founder and managing director of Positive Metering Firms Limited, to deliver his concluding remarks.
Thank you, Arvind. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of CII, I once again thank my friends from the industry and all the guests from the public. Thank you for joining us today. I would like to thank Shri Subhash Desai, Honorable Minister, Industries and Mining, Government of Maharashtra, for sharing his encouraging views. He would have been here, but because of the budget session, as we all know, he could not appear online, but he has shared his views through a video. That is something great. Dr. P. Ambalgan, Chief Executive Officer, Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation, you are an inspiring leader. Believe me, I've been observing you working with us very closely, especially with CII, and you are always with us. Whenever we invite you, whenever we need you, you're always with us. And amazing knowledge and a very methodical approach and an inclusive approach. किस मिट्टी के बने हो आप? You are a great inspiring leader. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the support from you at all the times, and of course for sparing your valuable time today and interacting with our members. I would like to thank our own Mr. Sunil Mathur, Chairman, CII Western Region, and Mr. B. Thiagarajan, Deputy Chairman, CII Western Region, for their presence today and being a part of the session. I'm confident that both our members and prospective members have benefited from this session. Last but not the least, I would like to thank our partners for supporting today's event. Platinum partner Blue Star Limited, Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation MIDC, Silver partner BG Lean Electricals Limited, NRB Bearings Limited, Tubasix Services Solutions India Limited, and Tata Autocomp Systems Limited. Associate partner Dalmia Cement Bharat Limited, Positive Metering Pumps India Private Limited, Skoda Auto Volkswagen India Private Limited. Corporate partner Calderis India Refractories Limited, Caprians India Limited, Chemtrol India Industries Private Limited, Dixon's Engineering Company Private Limited, Enres Plus Hauser India Automation Instrumentation Private Limited, Vertiv Energy Private Limited. Thank you, partners. May I now request Mr. Govindraj Ethraj to moderate the panel discussion on gearing up Maharashtra for next normal, reset businesses for growth beyond COVID-19. Thank you all once again. Thank you.
Hi, thank you very much for inviting me. I don't know, but I'm assuming that all the panelists are in. So if you are, can you raise your virtual hands? Rishi Bagla, Kashmira Mewawala, Sriram Narayanan, Thomas Varghese, and Hakeemuddin Ali. Are you around?
Mr. Ethraj, everyone is on call.
All panelists are on the call. Wonderful.
Yes, we are.
Great. So let's then start off. I think this is a very interesting topic and obviously very timely. If I look back very quickly over the last year and maybe more specifically 8 months, it's clear that Indian industry has done well. Indian industry has used and combined animal instinct with sheer grit and determination to bounce back. More importantly, as someone told me, it's developed the adrenaline of resilience, and that adrenaline of resilience has powered not just industry but obviously the economy to where it is today. The question, therefore, now as we go forward is, how do we convert this adrenaline of resilience to something more concrete and something that is more sustainable, not just for industries, bottom lines and top lines, but also for society at large, in using the lessons that we've learned. And as we apply these lessons to, as one of the panelists, Kashmira, told me a little while ago, to make our society more equitable and ensure that prosperity in its true sense is created and is also in some ways distributed. So this is the broad theme. So what we're going to do is, the subject has already been detailed. It's about gearing up Maharashtra for the next normal, reset businesses for growth beyond COVID-19. We also know that this is at a time when we are seeing a slight resurgence in cases, accompanied by vaccination going into the second phase, with the most welcome participation of the private sector, which obviously should speed up things and manage the overall epidemic, or at least the spread of the epidemic or the pandemic as we know it. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I'm going to ask each of the speakers to speak for about 5 minutes, and do keep this at 5 minutes, on the subject as you see it. And it would also be useful if you could share a few anecdotes in terms of how what it's been for you, maybe one lesson that you've learned that perhaps is not so obvious to you and you take forward into the future. And after which we'll have a conversation. I don't know what the question and answer format here is, but questions are definitely welcome, and so are comments from those who are participating. So once again, thank you very much for joining. Thank you, CII, for inviting me. And on that note, let me now invite, in the order that I've got in front of me, Rishi Bagla to go first.
Thank you, Mr. Govindraj. See, very importantly, during this pandemic, India as a country has demonstrated tremendous resilience towards the same. A country with such a large population and densely populated in multiple areas has not only been able to predict the challenges and hence reduce the fatality rate to below 1.4% of the infected, and infected percentage itself being on one of the lowest as compared to many developed countries. India has been able to create its own vaccination as well as vaccination distribution programs to the globe. It is also one of the largest distributors to multiple countries of the world, thereby becoming a champion to many many people. On the economic front, it was very important to bring India back to normal, and government made all the right moves. And as a result, probably we are one of the fastest recoveries in the world. The kind of programs that the government ran was truly remarkable. And despite many critics saying that India has given nothing, Indian government has given absolutely nothing to the people as compared to so many other governments. But look at the remarkable change that has brought to the economic front. We are probably one of the leaders in the change. Now let me come to Maharashtra as a state. Maharashtra as a state is one of the most industrialized states in the country, and so it faced largest challenge due to economic challenges, due to the lockdown, various lockdowns, etc. that happened. And also we faced tremendous challenge due to the migrant workers. We had the largest population of migrant workers in our state, and we faced tremendous challenge due to that. The COVID spread was very high, but through various interventions, this was well controlled. Now the state is ready to handle such situations much better. Now coming to what next? Now I have a different definition about business. I have always defined business is about identifying the gap in society between aspirations and supply and addressing that gap to the delight of the people. Being busy in doing that is how I would define business, whether it is an NGO, charitable body, for-profit organization, or profession. These covers them all. The purpose of business is to provide delight to its stakeholders, which is the customers, vendors, employees, government, and society. Every few years, due to major disruptions, the aspirations change, and with this changes the supply. Nimble and agile organizations who are able to predict this change are the ones who succeed, and those who only react to the change become followers or fall by the wayside. Having defined business and having defined the expectations from new normal, it is important to predict the behavioral change in the minds of the people. So we can clearly expect the world post-pandemic to aspire for a tech-savvy world, environment-friendly, and delight in ease of living. To address this, people would aspire for a more healthier environment, healthier food, better quality for water and sanitations. Therefore, the demand from the government by the people are going to be very important, and Maharashtra should show the way by creating future cities and provide world-class infrastructure to meet these aspirations of the people. Finally, I always have one statement to make. Government must understand and be compassionate towards industry's pain, and industry must understand government's limitations. With this, I close my initial remarks.
Thank you, Rishi Bagla, Chairman of the CII Western Region Subcommittee on Ease of Doing Business, which he referred to, and Director of OMR Bagla Automotive Systems. Just a quick question, Rishi. Where are you located?
I'm based out of Aurangabad, Maharashtra.
And that's where you are. Okay. So I think it's useful if everyone says where you are, because it's usually these things are held in Crystal Room North, Taj. So maybe it's nice to know where everyone is.
Great.
Joining in from. Okay. Another quick point. Okay. Maybe then I'll come back to you later on that. Kashmira, why don't you go next?
Okay, so thank you, Govind. It's such a pleasure to be with you and for the rest of the panelists. And congratulations to Arvind once again, and welcome to Sudhir. I just wanted to share a few thoughts, and I'm sure Rishi has covered most of everything that all of us want to say, as usual, in his eloquent style. But I think the last 1 year has really reflected for, I think, the first time in history, the world was completely aligned. Everybody had the same problem. Everyone was trying to find the same solution. Everyone had medical crisis. Everyone was trying to look after health, and everyone was trying to see what best we can do with the economy. But really, the one word which everyone found was balance. How do you balance life with livelihoods? So I think it's important for us to realize that, and this was not something anyone had planned for. And it was all your little cultural attributes and what you were grown up with and what your organizations were built on that came to the forefront. I think one major attribute which I saw was resilience. You know, how do you come out of this crisis? Second was, You might have the best processes and the best plans, but how do you put them into action when you don't have your foundation has changed? I mean, we've heard enormous stories about how, perfumeries began to actually make sanitizers. The largest perfumery manufacturers in Paris actually started moving on to sanitizers. That's what the world needed. And we saw that, high-end designers went into high-end PPE suits. So people adjusted. And this is the resilience that we saw. This is the adaptability that, people taught you when you were in management school and you learned at leadership lessons. Actually, you saw it on display. That what really came to the forefront is this: I will not die, I will win. And there was discipline at the core, but I think leadership was at center stage because everybody needed a leader to lead, to say, what do I do next? And then the organizations all aligned. Now, the leader was in the form of government, in the form of institutions, in your own corporations itself. And what we've seen in the last 1 year is, after a lot of initial months of trauma and settling down, and, as the numbers went up, so did our fear. And as economies went down, so did our hope. But then people stepped in. People stepped in, like Rishi mentioned, to realize that we need to look after the community first before, our organizations can really succeed and do well. And I'm very happy Rishi alluded so much to community and society. And Govind, I shared this on the earlier session which we had, and I can't not share this with you as well. Today is the Tata Group's Founders Day. Today is Mr. Jamshedji Tata's birth anniversary. And really, this whole concept of society and community first comes from the vision of the founder. So I'm very glad that we are having this discussion. And Rishi mentioned so much on when he spoke a little earlier. So thank you for that, Rishi. I know you're one person who really lives up to those standards from whatever I have seen as well. So as a Tata employee, I'm really proud to be talking about this. And we all found that, without the community, without the society, without the health of people, organizations cannot flourish. So we found that everybody realized that, and probably this was not something which was top of the agenda, all these years when people were operating for most or for some of them. We also found that this adaptability to new forms of working, whether it was the digital or automation or work from home or having teleconferences, people just adjusted. I don't think it took us even a week to really adjust. Prior to that, everyone made huge presentations on, companies' digital footprint. But really what you had at the end of the day is, how do I connect on a Zoom call? How do I connect on Microsoft Teams? And how do I continue to operate the way I do? So it was resilience, it was adaptability to change, and it was agility and speed, which we saw at the forefront of everything that we did, and keeping community and all the stakeholders. We've seen growth in the last few months, and it's very positive. I think this trajectory should continue. And people have realized what to keep and what to let go of, or at least I hope they have. And I hope we continue on this path of, a slight amount of, or a lot more of inclusive growth and a lot of equitable growth, because only then we are going to see that not just the country, but particularly Maharashtra state will ensure that we get the best of what the resources that we have. CII has connected so much with the governments. The governments are very eager to listen. They have been listening to all the CII representations that have been made for the people, for their members. And I'm sure that this trajectory should continue. So I'm going to stop here and hand you over to the next person and then come back.
Thank you so much, Kashmira. She is the CII Western Region Committee, Chairman of the CII Western Region Committee on International Trade and Investment, and Head of Business Development and Chief Ethics Counselor for Tata Capital, joining us from Mumbai, I'm assuming.
Yes, I forgot to mention that. Sorry. Yes, Mumbai, and as south as it gets.
Okay. Next up, Sriram Narayanan, Chairman of the CII Western Region Task Force on Society Connect and Managing Director of Endris and Plus Hauser India Automation Instrumentation Private Limited. Sriram, it's over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. And I'm speaking from Aurangabad, Waluj, to be precise. So today, as we are discussing, we are on a very, very good note. India as a country is coming out of the technical recession. And we as a company, we are very, very bullish, not only about global economy. We feel that India would definitely, I think, be a shining star in our world. And with this in mind, I think we as a group, we didn't stop our investments, though we were hit by COVID. And we would invest in Maharashtra close to 300 to 400 crores in the coming 2 to 3 years. And coming to how we got affected by COVID, fortunately, we as a company, we were supporting the various essential industries like food, pharma, beverage, oil and gas, which are all essential for a human life. But looking back at what has happened in last year, I feel what has sustained our company is basically going down to the value systems and what we have. I think Kashmira spoke about the value system of Tata. We have, as a company, we have a brand value which emphasizes on friendliness. This was seen during the COVID times when not only industry, even common people went beyond boundaries to support. We believe in doing what is sustainable. I think that's one of the brand value. So that is one thing which supported us. And whatever we do, we believe in excellence and commitment. Last year, around the same time, we had a nice sales conference in the Taj Hotel. I think this was close to our annual conference of Maharashtra. At that time, we were cruising, globally, we were growing at around 10%. And then in India, we were growing at 25%. And we had a false fallacy. Indians have a immunity which is coming out of the herbs which we use and so on. And we thought COVID will never struck us. Unfortunately, COVID hit us. We were, I think, as a company, we are very conservative in terms of working from home was an exception. And within 2 weeks of time, I think by March middle, almost 6,000 employees, 50% of our working force had to work from home because of what COVID brought in. So what are the lessons or learnings we had? We as a company, we had invested in digital. This was 2-3 years back. This supported us in getting into a new normal world, COVID world, very, very soon. And second thing, which we as a company, which we practice, I think people who have visited our company, they will have seen, we have a loyalty wheel, which says 3 sections of the company are very important. One is, of course, employees, customers, and shareholders. They are supported by, they are there for the society. So what we said, what we decided, I think, when the COVID struck, we said we would be very, very clear with our customers. We have to be very fair and clear and transparent to the customer. And we came up with several innovations like remote assistance, remote service assistance, because many of our products are used in essential industries like gas supply cannot be stopped. Or, for example, a vaccine factory cannot be stopped. So we had to support our customers, though we cannot move out. And second thing which we said, our employees, we should assure job security. We didn't have any layoff last year, though we did do, as a senior manager, we do take some cut in salary. But we stuck to our commitments, what was made to the employees. And third most important thing is partners or suppliers. Cash, I think we were discussing how many industries, MSMEs suffered because of lack of finance. We ensured we met all the commitments to the suppliers without them getting affected. And the fourth most important thing, which all of us realized during the COVID, we have a family. Otherwise, generally, most of us are occupied 24/7 working in the company. So homework became the norm. And personally, I realized how it was difficult because it's not easy life. Of course, all of us become better skilled. At least personally, I became better skilled in terms of helping my wife, in terms of washing and cleaning. This is my lessons learned. Now coming to what we should do in Maharashtra. Of course, Maharashtra was one state which was maximum affected and very, very nicely. And the positive thing which I saw was a collaborative attitude of the local administration. They went beyond the boundaries. And I was amazed to see the commitment of COVID warriors, whether it is the hospital force or the cleaning staff or the policemen. And third thing, which was very, very important, was all the industry associations, irrespective of whether it's CII or local association, they all collaborated together. Coming back to what we can do better when we have a new pandemic coming in, I personally feel that we had quite a lot of bureaucratic procedures in terms of closure of opening of industries. This was not the case in the rest part of the world. In fact, at some point of time, I was reminded of the license Raj situation. Probably we can learn from this COVID situation and do better. And second thing is, I personally feel we could have handled this migrant labor crisis. I was very happy to note that we have started a job portal. This was elaborated by Mr. Unmatched in his previous speech. And third thing is, we as, I think on social media, we need to be quite sensible in highlighting some topics. Because India was portrayed as a country which is not taking care of migrant labor, though there are a lot of good things happening. So we need to be sensible. This is one. And what Maharashtra should do to be even more magnetic, I have only three points. One is we need to continue our focus on physical and digital infrastructure. And I'm happy most of the projects are proceeding in the right direction. And second most thing is we need to be in close contact with the ground situation, especially for MSMEs, and do more on ease of doing business. And third thing is, which is important, is how to make the plug and play model a reality, not only in areas like DMIC or Audit City, how do we do it in other MIDC areas also. And the fourth thing, which of course need to continue, is continue investing in health infrastructure. This is from my side.
Thank you very much, Sriram. Can I invite now, or may I invite Hakimuddin Ali, co-convener of the Maharashtra State Panel on Innovation and Manufacturing, and also Executive Director, Dalmia Cement, based out of Nagpur. Go ahead, Hakim.
Hi, everybody. Very good afternoon and happy good afternoon to everybody. And thanks, Govind. My respects to Arvind, Mr. Tyagarajan, Sudhir, and all my colleagues on the panel. And my best wishes to all the CII colleagues who have joined here. So it's a very interesting phenomena that we passed through last 10, 12 months. Probably we have a lot of stories to be told to our grandsons or our future generations, and some very wonderful stories I can say and vouch for. When we look at Maharashtra, and since I represent cement industry and infrastructure, I think there are some extremely positive signs and sentiments which are coming up to do with the budget allocation, especially the revival of the capital expenditure. I think that is one single key stone which actually drives the entire cement industry, and for that matter, all the core industries, all the manufacturing industries, which Maharashtra certainly is a good hub. So if I see the numbers, I would say 3,05,000 crores have been allocated by central government for infra spend in Maharashtra, and 30,000 crores in this year's budget by the Maharashtra government itself. And the kind of projects which are running through, and I must say to you that, and I'm based out of Nagpur and I'm speaking from Nagpur, I think you should come and see Nagpur to see that change, which is happening all across us. The kind of spend which is going into infra is actually now being reflected. You see the cement and concrete roads all across, you see the metros. There's almost 13,000 crores for metros which has been allocated for Pune, for Nagpur, for Nasik, for Mumbai. That's really massive. And there are now 6 or 7 new airports coming up in all small district places, which is also going to be a big push towards infra creation. There's this Sagarmala thing where 4 to 5 new ports are being developed, and this Mumbai Nagpur Samriddhi Marg, I think we all can very proudly talk about it, especially for Nagpurians. It's going to be a game changer for us, because for logistics, for transportation, and for everything which is being developed on that road, which is going to transform Maharashtra in substantial ways in next 3 to 4 years. So this actually talks about, the kind of opportunities which are coming our way. And I think we all as an industry can encash this. And that's why when I talk about cement industry, we consume approximately 28 million ton of cement in Maharashtra, and we are producing about 46 million ton. So we are a surplus state. I think one big consistent problem that entire cement industry is passing through is a very low capacity utilization, around 70%, which means that there's a huge amount of capital expenditure which has been done, which is still unutilized. And we all need to see, this capacity utilization rising to almost 95% or almost 90% at least, which will really be very big game changer for the entire country and for Maharashtra per se. I must cite a good example of what we did in this pandemic times, and that really gives us confidence, and I think will be a good story for all of you. We acquired this SIG company which was having a debt plus 3,000 crores, a very large cement plant, almost 3.5 million ton, based out of Chandrapur. We paid for this plant in the month of September amidst the crisis, when everybody was looking at situations of reducing capex, of trying to curtail their costs. We spent money on that, and we were really wondering what can we do in these times, because we were really wondering whether we'll be able to get first the workers to work in the plant and this revival, because it was a 900 crore capex project which we had to spend in 1 year's time. Whether we'll be able to get the manpower, whether we'll be able to get the interstate manpower, which was also a very big question mark for us. So we started in the month of October with 10 people. which became 500 in 2 weeks time and became 1,200 in 3 months times, 2.5 months time. And today we are having 1,700 people on ground, despite the pandemic, despite this tough situation, working overnight in 3 shifts for reviving the plant. And I'm happy to say that we'll be able to produce our first bag in record time, and we'll be able to dispatch something in this month itself. So that speaks a lot of confidence in the economy, in the robustness of Maharashtra economy, that we can certainly contribute to the spendings and the funds which are coming our way. I think the biggest learning that I personally got during this tough time to execute a project during this period was that unless we have confidence in our ability and we take the strong step forward, I think we will not be able to revive the economy back. And I think as an industry and the leaders of the industry should certainly not shy away from the capital expenditure, which is must for our industries, because unless we show confidence, I think the things are not going to come back to normal. And that's very critical. Second thing I found, which is very wonderful phenomena, is that typically rural immunity is huge. I mean, from this pandemic, it has really taught us that I think most of the urban population is subjected to the kind of problems that we face. But to a great extent, rural population has shown huge immunity. And that's where I think even during the peak pandemic situation, cement industry was actually propelled by demand from rural India. And that's what kept us going. There was only 1 month period when this industry stopped, but otherwise it was running all through the situation. So I think that's something which was wonderful. Some of the points where I would sincerely advise that we should exercise caution, not go into an overdrive, are 2 areas. One, of course, is that I think the kind of investments, the kind of capacity buildups that we are doing, we should certainly do our numbers first before we start putting that into it. And of course, all companies do that, especially looking at the current situation. But more importantly, I think we should not rely on the euphoria which is created through the share markets. Typically, yesterday I read 0.4% increase in GDP and the share market goes up by 750 points. Whereas if we look at our numbers, if you look at GDP numbers, if we have to come back to 2018 absolute numbers, I think we will have to grow at the rate of at least 15% GDP in this year itself. So anything which is less than 10% growth is not going to give us. So percentage today is irrelevant, because what is important is the absolute numbers. For at least 2.5 years, we should not, and that's my caution, we should not look at the GDP numbers, percentage, because if somebody shows a double-digit growth, it means we are just trying to come back to what we have lost. I think that's very critical for all of us to really exercise caution. The other thing, which is my humble this thing, and there is a lot of others gathering here, we acquired this company through NCLT. And we would expect that if we are starting this work in such a huge pandemic times, giving employment to people, and that's the larger goal. Kashmira talked about, equitable growth, and also any industry that we start, we should start with a larger purpose. Am I able to revive the sick unit? Am I able to provide employment to those people who had lost? Almost 700 people had lost job. We are employing them back, bringing that life into that arid zone that we have started this plant. And despite all that, I mean, I would say when you acquire a company from NCLT, we are still running today from pillar to post to get our permissions. So all that talk that we have done about ease of doing business, I find it completely blasted on ground when I go and meet the departments. And that's something extremely painful, right? From CTO to mines or CTO of plant to, getting mining permissions, mining licenses revived, especially for industry which was not working since last 7 years. I think NCLT process should build in that you should be given a company on a platter with all the permissions, so that, and Shriram was talking about plug and play. I mean, there is no plug and play existing, my friend. And I think it's a very, very sad situation. That's the pain which comes out from this thing. I think we really need to engage with government on this particular topic, how we can help the distressed industry to revive back to their normal post-pandemic situation, because a lot of people have lost jobs. A lot of industries went into sick nature. So we should, at least on the permissions front, on the licenses front, we should not pain them. I think that's my single line message to the industry and to the government here. With these words, I would like to close my talk, and thanks, Govind, and thanks, CII, for giving me this opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Hakeem, and earlier Sriram, for being candid. I'm getting a feeling that this virtual version somehow encourages more candidness than what I've seen in the physical version for whatever reason, and that's good. So next up, Thomas Verghese, CEO of the textile business for Aditya Birla Group.
Thank you, Govind, and thanks to Arvind, Sudhir, Tyagarajan, my old friend.
Okay, Thomas, I think you're frozen. So what we'll do is let's circle back and see if we can get you back on the link. Okay, you're back. Go ahead. Thomas, you're on a very weak internet connection, I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, you know, what it really, the pandemic has shown is how fragile the world is, and how particular event like the pandemic could bring the whole world on its knees. The impact, as one of my fellow panelists said, Kashmira, has been almost uniform around the world. And I think the need for balance has been seen to be the most significant. Um, I think our experience through this pandemic has been literally, first and foremost, moving from the physical world to working in the virtual world. This was achieved quite seamlessly because we were well connected, and I think within a couple of days, despite the closure of plants, we could connect with plants, our offices around the country and around the globe, and we could get moving. I look after a 7-country operation, which is truly global in size, and we could actually start virtual meetings. We could do town halls and do a lot of communication during this period. So I think there were a lot of learnings, and I think the IT connectivity and the need for being quick and agile is the right word in the virtual world was very, very important. So I think that's worked out very well. Coming to what it really means, I think the economy has suffered a major blow. Many sectors are coming back and coming back quite well. In fact, we just heard from Hakeem, the cement industry is back. Utilizations may be still not very high, but at least the demand is there. Infrastructure spends are happening. And we heard earlier the MIDC CEO talking about the enormous amount of investment that's happening in infrastructure. Coming to really where we stand and what Maharashtra should do, there is a big challenge going ahead. The supply chains have got disrupted, and despite the fact that lockdowns were lifted almost 5-6 months ago in a phased manner, the supply chain is still not fully restored. I work in the textile industry, which is highly fragmented, comprises of a lot of unorganized sector clusters, and these have been literally, debilitated during the course of this last 10 to 12 months of low demand and closure. I think, and it's not specific to Maharashtra, I think the support from the government of India has been very, very limited. This is my personal view because I manage operations in Europe and Southeast Asia, and the support governments have given in those countries have been enormous, particularly in Europe, where the governments have been picked up 75% of the tab of private industry enterprises. And it's pretty amazing the kind of support that has been forthcoming from respective governments. However, what we really need to worry, and particularly it's a big worry for me in my industry, is that the decentralized sector consists of SMEs, the small and medium enterprises. And I think the small and medium enterprises have been hit very badly. And I think despite all the RBI, supports and SOPs which were announced, many people do not really have access to ease of funding and ease of, um, basically any kind of waiver or any kind of moratorium on payments of interest. You can imagine the state of a guy in the hospitality industry where there is virtually no demand and he has to service his existing debt. So forget about new debt, he's unable to service his existing debt. So I think, Maharashtra can take a leap forward. It's been one of the leading states in the Indian context for decades. And it was very heartening to hear about the infrastructure. I think, as mentioned by the MIDC CEO, investment in infrastructure, whether it's road, ports, airports, are a must to really develop the Maharashtra economy. Secondly, I think instead of using a shotgun approach, it may be worthwhile for government and industry bodies like CIIs to identify a couple of sectors. The sectors which would be very relevant where Maharashtra is extremely competitive. It could be automobiles, it could be chemical industry, it could be health, it could be textiles. I mean, there are a number of industries, and think about what can be done. Maharashtra is a big agricultural producer. The food processing industry is something we've been talking for a long time. I think my friend Mr. Tyagarajan is well aware that from the early 2000s, we were been talking about developing the food processing industry through CII. And this really has not really happened, despite all our intentions. And similar is the case with textile industry. The government has announced mega clusters, they've announced integrated parks. In the last 10, 15 years, I've seen really nothing of value coming up. They've again announced in this budget that they want to set up the integrated parks. So I think a good start for Maharashtra would be to look at some specific segments, look at creating world-class infrastructure, which would really help not just the large industries, but primarily the small and medium enterprises who, with their agility, with their enterprise, and with speed, can really move ahead and capture a lot of the global opportunities. And I think going forward, there is a great opportunity for Maharashtra and great opportunity for all industries which have a competitive advantage in this state. And I think it is for us to seize it together. Thank you.
Thanks, Thomas. Let me kick back a quick question to you. So is there anything that's changed in the competitiveness? You did talk about government support to companies in Europe and Southeast Asia. So that's, I'm assuming, more of financial support. Is there anything that's changed in terms of competitiveness which could either help us or maybe puts us at a further disadvantage as you look ahead?
Yeah, so, two things. One is the support has been financial in terms of picking up the tabs for the costs. And they have also given a lot of facilitation in terms of imports and export regimes during this period. But when you look at what has been the learning for us, I think the learning for us has been that everyone has realized that the most important thing to do in a period like the pandemic, when demand virtually collapsed, is to manage cash. And I think a lot of people did it. I think Hakeem was an exception where he said that we actually went and did a major acquisition and spent a lot of money. But if you look at most industrialists and most big industries in India, they were extremely conservative and they were conserving cash. Then the second thing which happened, which answers your question in a way, Govindraj, is that competitiveness comes from your cost structure, really, at the end of the day, and the factor cost of production. And I think a lot of us have worked in the last 10 to 12 months to actually clip down our cost and take out a lot of costs which earlier we felt were not possible to do. But I think what we have seen, and I've seen it across the Aditya Birla Group, virtually every businesses of ours have been able to take out massive amount of costs out of the system. And I think this, to my mind, is a sustainable advantage, and it will give us definitely a great advantage going ahead in terms of our competitiveness in the global market. Anyway, India is extremely competitive when it comes to labor costs and power. I mean, people really don't know what the levels are, if you're talking of $250, $300 for an Indian worker compared to a Chinese worker of $700, $800, or a European worker of 1,500 euros, or let's say a Thailand. I run operations in Thailand of $450, whether it's in Thailand or in Indonesia. The only countries which really beat us on this at the moment is Vietnam and Africa. I think other than Vietnam and Africa and probably some other stray countries, but the ones which are really on the move in terms of manufacturing, building a manufacturing base for global operations is Vietnam and Africa and parts of Africa. Maybe Burma Myanmar may also develop over time, but it's too early there. But India will do well because I think a lot of industries have clipped a lot of costs and they have learned to manage their working capitals very, very well because of the pandemic and the fact that the revenue streams were completely hit during this period.
Right, and when you talk about supply chains, and you did say that you have a global supply chain and a domestic supply chain. So are you at an advantage being in Maharashtra, and has this pandemic shown or thrown fresh light on how you could reorient, if at all, your supply chains as you go forward? For instance, would it make more sense to be in this state, since we are talking from this state's vantage point right now, or essentially what I'm asking is, are you looking at, or has there been any shift in the way supply chains are oriented? And I'm going to pose that question to other panelists as well.
Yeah, so let me give you a quick answer to this. I did an acquisition of a Turkish textile plant in Kolhapur just before the pandemic hit, just about a few months before that. And our intention of acquiring an asset in Maharashtra was primarily driven by what you said, that we are close to the textile clusters, we are close to the supply base of cotton, though we use, of course, extremely fine varieties of cotton which may not be grown in Maharashtra. So yes, I think being in Maharashtra is strategically important. There was a time I used to work for a company which had a base in Nagpur, in Butibori, which was referred to by the CEO of MIDC. We thought we were at the center of the country and we thought we had a logistic advantage. But actually, it did not pan out really that way because the infrastructure on transportation had not evolved to the extent that it really gave the advantage of being, let's say, Nagpur, which is almost like the center of India. And I guess Airbus also put up their industries there with the same intention. So I think the mixed bag, I think MIDCs are very progressive, they're very supportive. But I think, like one of my colleagues, Hakim, mentioned, ease of doing business, a lot of it is on paper. In reality, when you actually go and struggle with the various government authorities, it is an uphill task to get approvals and to get, that's a reality. And we face these realities on a daily basis.
Okay, Hakim.
So I hope I've answered your question, Govindraj. Thank you.
Elaborately. Hakim, do you want to build on that a little bit? What can be done to change? I mean, if particularly in this state, and I'm also, I mean, not that I'm batting for the government or MIDC, but could it be that things got a little more difficult because there was a pandemic going on, or you feel that that's something that is accounted for?
I will try to sum it up in one line. The people who benefit from this making the business difficult are the people who are in charge of making it simple. So it will never happen. I mean, the way I have seen it, and I have seen it so closely, that if we do away with these rules and which does not benefit the industry, and host of such rules, and every time you find a problem, you create more rules around that, and it keeps building up, unfortunately. And who is it benefiting? It is benefiting the system which is given the task of making this simple. So unfortunately, unless there is an external agency which studies this, and I think the industry discovered this business process reengineering thing almost 15 years back. The government process reengineering actually needs a huge focus. There has to be a separate agency working on it, and the people who are running it should not be given the task of doing it. So maybe something like CII can actually work on it. We have our experiences. We know that these are the laws which are actually not required. and they're only created for creating windows, nothing else, nothing more. I think they can be completely, and it was the need of the times of 20 years back when people were working on paper. So if I am buying a small plot of land, from the day I get it registered, I should get that property on my name from the system itself. Why do I need to separately go and again apply for simple things like that? Leave aside the industry, there are bigger topics. There is an agency which is giving you CTO to operate. There's another agency which gives you factory licenses. There's another agency which gives you mining licenses. And all of them combined together, it's a chicken and egg theory. One department says, go to the other department, bring this paper, and then I will process this. And we all know why it happens. So I'm saying, I mean, I don't want to talk about this particular because all of us facing it, but there is a huge amount of national waste that we are doing on this topic. There is a good opportunity for organization like CII to go into each segment in simpler segment, create agency around that, and we work on a focused way that how the new rules should be framed for that, and we give it probably.
Okay. Yes, I think Sriram wants to weigh in. Go ahead.
Okay. I had day fresh there was one of my close friend MSME had come down to greet me on my being elected to the CII Council. And I was pleasantly surprised when he said that he got a booking in Auric City. It is a plug and play model without having to move from anywhere. So he said all the permissions, everything was done smoothly and seamlessly. This is the feedback I got. So that's the reason why I said whatever is the plug and play model we are implementing in DMIC, it's a private corporation. The same thing can be extended. I think most of the topics which Hakumuddin brought forward will be resolved. Then coming to the topic of supply chain management, I think, frankly, I think we did lose the game during the pandemic. Because after we got the factory started, I could see most of the communication which was happening in our group, whether it's in state or western region, was on containers not getting moved, drivers not available, and so on. Unfortunately, I think logistics, if India has to become competitive or Maharashtra has to become competitive, this is one area I think which should never get disrupted. It should be an essential service. And I could understand the pain of the truck drivers who are all stopped. I don't know what would be the reasons. So if Maharashtra has to become competitive, I think this is one area where we should focus and we should never allow exports to get stopped. That's where I think China gained in the pandemic and we in India lost the game. This is my story.
Rishi, do you want to come in?
Thank you, Govind. Now, I have quite a few takes on this point. First, let me talk about ease of doing. Sorry, am I audible and am I clear?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, you are.
Thank you. So first, let me talk about ease of doing business, because that's something that I'm supposed to be talking about in any case. So ease of doing business in India is a hardly 5-year-old story, with the Niti Aayog, now DPIIT, having come forward with the plan that India needs to do ease of doing business and need to improve the working of the country as far as ease of doing business is concerned. Globally, we have been able to get a good ranking. Continuously, we have been improving in the ranking, because globally, in ease of doing business, only Bombay and Delhi are the 2 yardsticks. Keeping that in mind, the government of India decided that we will have competitive ranking on multiple factors with each of the states. Now, let me tell you, some of the states have done phenomenally well on ease of doing business, and some of the states have remained constant, and some of the states have gone down in ease of doing business. Now, ease of doing business has multiple factors. One of the major factors, what Hakeem said and what Mr. Varghese said also, is relating to single window clearances. Now, so that the entrepreneurs do not have to run from pillar to post, there has to be a single window clearance. And in Maharashtra, there is a single window clearance called Maitri. Now, Maitri is supposed to become very strong. It is headed by a development commissioner, Mr. So the development commissioner heads Maitri, who is supposed to coordinate with all the all the various departments and give the decision and give the solution to the industry. The meetings happen quite frequently. Unfortunately, the last 1 year, the meetings have not happened as frequently or on real life situation as it was happening earlier. Lot of issues used to get sorted out in Maitri. In Maitri, many times the Honorable Minister also used to come in the state of Maharashtra. I'm talking of Maharashtra now about Maitri. What CII has been insisting to the government of Maharashtra to improve that the industries are located not in the state, industries are located in the districts, and therefore the districts should be given the authority to make the necessary implementation or giving the permissions itself at a fast pace, and everything need not be coming to the state for decision. This is something that the CII has been working very strongly in multiple states and also so in Maharashtra. And this was under discussion with the Development Commissioner also, that we will decentralize the power of Maitri at regional levels, and we will give them to certain divisional commissioner level officers to handle the decisions at the local level. Because most of the clearances are required at the local level. Very few clearances are required at the state level. Unfortunately, the district level clearances or the district level transfer of authority could not happen, which was in the process. And this COVID hit, and so everything came to a priorities of everything got changed. So I'm just explaining to all member concerned about the ease of doing business that is happening in Maharashtra. Maharashtra continues to remain 13th in the ranking for ease of doing business in the state, in the country, where Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and now surprisingly UP hold the number 1, 2, and 3 places, which are doing very well. So this is on the ease of doing business. Now on the supply chain, let me tell you what's happened during the pandemic. During the pandemic, raw material costs have spiraled like anything. As a result, there is a huge challenge that the MSME is facing on the raw material procurement. Not only the prices, also the supply is being a challenge for the raw material, typically raw material like steel, metals, typically metals, let me put it like this, typically metals. As a result of which, not only the supply, not only the availability of material has become a challenge, but also the requirement of working capital for the MSME has gone up because of the prices having gone up. Whether the banks have stood up to their challenge, stood up to that new extra requirement or not, is a debatable question. Though the government has made it mandatory for the banks to give 20% extra working capital loan to the existing industries. How much of that follows with the capital adequacy ratio, not follows with the capital adequacy ratio, is all a subject of debatable matter. So this is a challenge that the tiers are facing. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 suppliers are facing. Typically, Tier 2, Tier 3 suppliers are facing because of the spiraling metal prices, and also on top of that, there has been some sort of an inflationary cost that we are seeing. Typically, as what we said, logistics cost. A container cost from India to Europe or to USA has more than tripled. How do you face such situations? So global competition is getting challenged because of the availability of the transportation cost. So all these costs together are creating a huge supply chain logistics problem, which needs to be addressed in some way or the other. Most of the metal prices are linked to global prices and global conditions. It is not a national subject, it's a global subject. Globally, the prices are rising, and that's why the local prices are rising. We need to address this thing. One more issue that I want to highlight is, which is the biggest challenge, is frequent changes in the notifications and the laws by the government. It's like this, that one law or a notification is made. By the time it comes down to the district level that this change has been made by the government, a new law has already been formulated. These frequent changes of laws, frequent changes of notifications that keep coming and happening is what is the real ground level challenge that the local authorities face, local industries face, small scale industries face. As a result, decision taking by the government authorities always remains in a jumbo. They do not know what is the prevalent and existing situation today. So, as I said in the beginning, that government has to understand and be compassionate about the pains of the industry. The industry has to understand the limitations of the government. When I say government, it could mean the local authorities, and we need to solve these problems. And CII, as a part of CII, will continue to work to try and bring these changes into the government. Coming on the quality and ease of living, most important part is what this pandemic has taught us. It has taught us the value of life. I think I've never spent so much time with my family ever in my life. 8-9 months not traveling, being with the family. I think all of us have done that. All of us have understood the family much better, which has been a big boon in this pandemic. And I'm on a lighter note, let me tell you, I have shed 10 kgs of weight during this pandemic because I ate only home food. So I'm sure all of us are having a healthier life, better life during this period, and we have realized the value of life. In this pandemic, every pandemic,
Rishi, can I interrupt you? I mean, we're actually running out of time. We only got about 9 minutes left. Can I get a few more thoughts in, and then I'll come back to you?
Sure, go ahead. Okay. Thank you.
Right. So I think there was an important, slightly different point on purpose, which Kashmira referred to. And, Kashmira, can you tell us, do you feel that there is a realignment of purpose? I mean, you have said that there's realignment of purpose in some ways. What Rishi said, just now, is in a way already alluding to that, right? I mean, purpose is now defined as more than just bottom line. It's also the aggregation of family. It's the aggregation of how do we blend our purpose, our own individual objectives. So tell us about how you are thinking about this, maybe from a Tata point of view, and how do you see that manifesting itself in the way you will be doing business or managing business?
Sorry, so thank you for that, Govind. That's one of my favorite subjects, but I just want to clarify that when I talk about purpose, I talk about it from my own personal experiences. And, the group has very nicely played out the fact and shown at all points of time that purpose is at center stage. If we look back at any kind of business that we have started, we've always ensured that the why is clear. And anything that we do when the why is clear, the how becomes easy. Having said that, I'm not the group spokesperson, so what I'm sharing today are my own thoughts. I just wanted to clarify that. Sure. And why is it important? And I'm seeing the increasing essence of it even being talked about and brought onto center stage is because, we've heard on the call even today that how people realize that, you can't just grow your company if you don't look after the other stakeholders. And the society and the community is a very important stakeholder. And so are our employees. So when you look at purpose and you look at equitable growth, you'll automatically find that there is fairness in what you're trying to do, and people will want to support you, whether it is the society, whether it's your own teams, whether it's your employees, because without this, there's no point in saying that, only I will acquire that wealth. How are you going to succeed otherwise? We have to plow that back and ensuring, there's enough we are discussing about we need more roads and we need more infrastructure and what the government has to do. Of course, there's a lot to be done. And I think CII has had enormous dialogues with the government over many, many years. And the government does listen. I mean, I wish they would listen more, but there is a lot of dialogue which does take place. And there is a lot of understanding which also takes place. But I think as corporates and as individuals, we can also certainly do a lot more than what we are doing. And the pandemic brought that to center stage when we realized that, like Rishi mentioned, food, family, and a bit of finance kept all of us going. Yeah, so we were all very comfortable. For us, the choice was which film to watch on Netflix, or should I connect with my office on Teams or on Zoom? We had that choice, right? We had a choice of where to order from if I didn't feel like cooking or I didn't have a maid. But there were many people whose livelihoods were affected. And I'm happy to see that so many corporates stepped in and ensured that jobs were not lost. Now, this is something we really need to protect. And I talk about Maharashtra, and I'm sure this is true of any state. If we want the state to grow and if we want the state to really prosper, we have to protect jobs. Because with jobs and with livelihoods, people will be able to share that money. And finally, that money will get plowed back into retail and help the economy. If we look at the government spend on infrastructure, and what has happened because of that, you've been seeing the figures on the OEMs. The OEM sales have really been almost at an all-time high in the last few months. And with that, you see the jobs have got created. What is going to happen once jobs get created? The money comes back into retail and comes back into the economy. And of course, there's so much ease of travel and when infrastructure improves. So I think, purpose is extremely important. Why are you starting a business? Why do you do what you want to do? And purpose can't only be, I want to make money for my company. That's all I want to say. And I'm sure every single leader on the call understands that. But I think we shouldn't shy away from talking about it. It's time we got it back onto the table.
And this is a good time to revisit that. Okay, so we're almost out of time. So I'm just going to get a quick 1 or 2 line sum up. The topic that we started with was gearing up Maharashtra for the next normal, reset businesses for growth beyond COVID-19. Tell us about the one thing that you're going to do or likely to do as you look ahead and do it differently, more importantly, particularly if it's a lesson from the last year. Thomas, why don't you go first? I'm going in reverse order.
So I think, what Kashmira said, I just want to add to that. I think sustainability has become, I think, one of the markers for a successful business in future. So I think we practiced that. The Aditya Birla Group did not lay off anyone during this period and protected all the jobs. We, of course, have a hiring freeze, which has also now been unfrozen.
Yes.
And I think he's right that employment is a key element for keeping the world of commerce running. And I think the way we saw migrant laborers being handled by Government of India and maybe by many enterprises, both small and medium, was probably one of the saddest or the lowest moments of this pandemic. While everything else happened, I think the handling of migrant labor, and I've participated in innumerable number of discussions of this, was pathetic. And I think worrying about your people, ensuring that you have sustainable practices, and of course, all good progressive businesses should be clear about what their purpose is. And as Kashmira said, it is not about only creating wealth. It's about creating jobs. It's about creating economic well-being of your stakeholders, ensuring that the communities you live in, you serve them because they are your license to operate, really. So,
right.
I mean,
okay. Thanks for that, Thomas. I'm running out of time. Hakeem, can you go next and go quickly?
Yeah, so very quickly speaking, I think I would only say that the green cement is something which we are actively pursuing. This is one thing we should do differently. Cement industries like our energy guzzlers, I think Dalmia has shown the way to the world for the cement industry. We have already committed that in 20 years' time we'll be carbon negative, which is a very, very big this thing. Pandemic has actually shown us that all these initiatives that we have taken on alternative fuels, firing complete municipal waste and all different type of things can actually make us very cost effective and make us pass through such difficult phases much more easily.
Right, that's a great input. The pandemic has reinforced the need and the focus on green and climate, I guess, in a larger sense. Sriram, you're next.
I think I have only one sentence to say. We should always follow the culture of people first, because people make the world. And second thing is we should show the same flexibility and trust in all the stakeholders, not only in pandemic, even in other conditions. And most important thing, we as India, we need to be very, very positive, and I'm sure we will come up.
Okay, as we are. Rishi, last word. You have 30 seconds.
Okay, we will continue to provide delight to all the stakeholders, which is the customers, vendors, employees, government, and society. Every crisis creates new opportunities. We will go for all the opportunities as we can. Think beyond boundaries and barriers. we will think the unthinkable. That is what we would like to do, and in the process, provide delight to all the stakeholders. That's my statement.
Okay, thank you very much. And I hope this has been a delightful conversation as well and very candid. Thank you once again. Unlike some of the other CII discussions have been, and this is very useful as inputs for those who have to take decisions to make life easier and business more efficient in the state of Maharashtra. On that note, thank you very much once again. It's over to Arvind Goel for the next session, I think.
Thank you, Govind.
Thank you, Govind. We've enjoyed this discussion as well. And I just want to get in one last line with your permission. I think we are in a great state, and all of us jointly can make it even better. The highest, or almost the highest amount of SMEs, so much of resource, so much ample opportunity for tourism, and I think we have so much going for us, and we could make it even greater. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kashmira. Thank you. Over to you, Arvind.
Thank you. And my fellow panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Shri Ram.
Thank you, Govind.
Thank you, Mr. Ali.
Thanks,
you,
everyone.
Thanks, Govind.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Is Mr. Aditya Thackeray joined now?
He'll take a couple of minutes to be on his seat. So if we could wait for 2 minutes and then start, please.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. Just let me know. So that.
Mr. Ninad Karpe is already on call.
Who?
Mr. Ninad Karpe.
Govind, you could do a sum up quickly.
Sorry, you want me to do a sum up?
Yeah, while we're waiting.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think there are 3 or 4 key things that I'm taking away. I think industry is still facing a lot of, let's say, hurdles and obstacles on ground. That cannot, and these things don't automatically go away or improve even if we all rededicate ourselves during a period like the pandemic. I think the pandemic has also exposed some fault lines, and I'm really talking about areas like supply chains. And I know that not in this discussion, but from other discussions I've had where people have faced considerable problems in dealing and corresponding with, let's say, tier 2 suppliers or tier 3 suppliers and getting and moving goods and goods across. So I think those are challenges that have been identified and exposed. But equally, I think, as Hakeem was saying earlier, almost 1,700 people coming back into the workforce and in factories in the middle of the pandemic is a good sign and shows that there is commitment to enterprise. So on that note, let me hand it back to the organizers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shri Aditya Uday Thackeray ji, for joining. The Honorable Minister for Tourism, Environment and Protocol, Government of Maharashtra, a very young and a dynamic leader. I wish India has few more dynamic leaders like you. It will be a great place to live. It's already a great place, but it can be greater. So, Mr. Ninad Karpe, past chairman CII Western Region and partner 100x VC, would moderate this session. As this is a fire chat, I now request Mr. Karpe to please ask questions to Shri Aditya Uday Thackeray. I remember last year on the CII function also, he had spontaneously answered question on so many topics, and I wonder at this age he virtually knows every subject what's happening in the state. Thank you, Thackeray ji, for joining. Over to you.
Thank you, Arvind ji. But such a kind introduction just increases the pressure for better answers of this. So,
thank you, Arvind. Thank you. I'm delighted to have Mr. Aditya Thackeray, Honorable Minister for Tourism and Environment, Government of Maharashtra and Protocol. Last year, if you remember, I don't know, you had given me permission to call you Aditya. I don't know if it's a 12-month expiry date for that permission.
Although I've turned 30, it's still the same.
Thank you. So I'll assume that the permission you've extended for 1 more year.
At least for another 20 years, I hope people don't put G to my name.
Okay, I will not. So I will call you Aditya specifically because, you are my son's classmate at Ambani School. So there's this long relation. So it's interesting. Last year, we had a proper fireside chat with a physical format, and now it's online. And they've again called me to moderate this chat. So either, obviously, people are impressed with what you were saying. Either they're giving me a second chance to make an impression, or I had done a good job. I'll assume it's the latter. But we have a short 20-minute window, and I want to make the maximum use. And I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. because I want viewers, we have got 400 people watching it live as of now from CII across Maharashtra. So this is your chance to talk about the big picture, talk about what you feel, what you think. And I'm so delighted where I'm getting a second chance to ask you questions. I remember exactly what you said last year. So this is a test again to see if it's say the same things, different things, or something else. So welcome
If I'm
again.
the same things, I am still a politician and a better politician, that means. So.
Sure. So here it goes. I think you probably faced as a government and a minister one of the toughest challenges any government would ever face. COVID hit us in March, and it's one of a massive challenge which you never wish any government to face. Obviously, we've had a lot of praise for the way you're handling and the situation as it unfolds. Tell me, is your grand vision altered post-COVID, or is it the same? For Maharashtra, grand vision for Maharashtra as a state?
I think if you remember last year, it was around the same time, and I remember sneaking out of the assembly, coming over for
Correct.
about half an hour, 45 minutes, and getting back. And just around the same time, we had the budget presented, and it was a budget where we had a lot of emphasis on things like tourism, on environment, especially for my departments. But apart from that, there was of course a lot of emphasis on the industry and infrastructure growth. What has happened largely in the last 1 year, right from March last year to this year, is that yes, we have had a lot of focus on COVID. All our officers, all our administrators, public elected representatives, all of us, in fact, every field, every sphere of life has been focusing on COVID. Something which we were seeing around the world, seeing in a couple of countries, but we never expected it to hit us so badly, and especially in a way that no virus has hit us before. It's probably the only virus that's a existence on every latitude, longitude, altitude, every temperature, every season, and it's still going on. So, largely the COVID situation still carries on. In terms of the grand vision, there were a lot of they've only been pushed a year further. But that's not deviated us from our main plans, because finally what happens is there were two visions. One is, of course, the macro vision, which we saw for Maharashtra, but the other is a very micro vision for every district that we are planning on, be it right from industry clusters to education to infrastructure. And if you largely notice around all of us, especially most of us living in Mumbai, would have noticed that most of our infrastructure work carried on as it were carrying on before us. So the coastal road hasn't stopped. The MTHL is making good progress. GMLR is starting off very soon. The road resurfacing, be it all of that, be it Mumbai-Nagpur highway, be it our Chippy airport, all of that is on track. In terms of industry, in the last 1 year, from June 2020 to about now, we've got almost 1,13,000 crores of investment into Maharashtra, MOU signed, and almost 80% of that work has been executed, land has been allotted. So that is one of the things that we've gone beyond the regular MOUs. And of course, environment has been a large focal point for all of us. So we are moving ahead. Yes, balancing it out with COVID, but we are moving ahead.
Great. We are moving ahead. That's good to know. So if you recollect, there was always a vision of making Maharashtra a $1 trillion economy. And some years ago in 2025, 2024, is that still firm? And just to remind you, I'm sure you're aware, a single company in US, Apple, is a $1 trillion company. But yes, as a state, what is your vision of becoming a $1 trillion economy?
I wish we had a mango or something else like the apple out here. But apart from that, yes, I mean, we are on track. Like I said, largely that we are creating a lot of infrastructure that will give a boost to the industry. We're also creating policies that will give a boost to the industry. Last year, if you remember, with the Mahaparvana, we've reduced the amount of licenses required to set up an industry in Maharashtra. What we are now closely working on, especially my Department of Environment, and then of course there's the Labor Department, you also have the Industry Department, all of us are closely working on now the compliance bit. Because once it is easier to set up an industry, that is one thing. You've set up an industry, you've started working in Maharashtra. But going further, we're looking at some of the compliances, some of them which are very important, some of them which are absolutely ridiculous, and the ones that are ridiculous, we're trying to get rid of them so that it's also easier and it's a better atmosphere to stay in Maharashtra. I think if we can create this whole peripheral atmosphere for industries to grow, for our state to grow, that is when we could really hit the $1 trillion economy. I think this is a phase because largely if some of us are into cycling, I would describe it as look at your pedal. You go up, you have to push it down, pull it up again, and that's when you move forward. So this is going to spur us ahead for sure. It's given us more of an intent to move ahead.
Would you like to put a year to the $1 trillion economy target, 2025, or no, you don't want to put a year?
I now after COVID, I've started fearing putting years to anything because everyone thought 2021 is a mask-free year, and we still have a mask. But yes, the intent is there, and we are putting things into place for that.
Sure. So talking about industries, let me gives way to my next question, which is FDI. It's one figure which is really touted by all states. Maharashtra has been a leader for a long time, but this leadership obviously is not easy. You have to continuously innovate, ensure, and new states are giving a lot more benefits. Do you think you need to work harder to keep the leadership position? Do you think this leadership will last? Do you think there's enough momentum in Maharashtra to have leadership last for, let's say, next 10 years, 20 years?
I think we're naturally blessed to have been in a leadership position right from the beginning because Maharashtra has been the leadership state for industry coming and settling in, be it the headquarters or be it the manufacturing plants. Moving further, if you see, what is very important is we have a couple of things that are conducive for the leadership out here. One is, of course, political stability, and whichever government has come in, we've never been drastically moving away from the leadership point of view from the industry of creating conducive environment for the industry. Two, like I said, if there's a political conducive environment, we also have to create environment for the ancillaries to be set up here. We were just, in a Zoom call with another company that is, looking at a couple of states around Maharashtra, around India, to come and start off with the manufacturing plant and also to start off with their sales. And what we realized is while we were doing that and while we were making a pitch to them, a very passionate pitch, we realized that 75% of the companies that supply ancillaries and support to them are based out of Maharashtra. So it's most natural for a lot of industries that are big, be it manufacturing, right from that to data centers, to the fourth revolution that's coming in. We have a talent pool. We have universities. We're setting up a skill university right here in Mumbai very soon. So we have a huge pool of resources in terms of political support, conducive environment, education, infrastructure, and the MIDCs ramping up the game for many more to come here and set up. So the leadership will continue irrespective of who is leading the state. The leadership will continue.
So let me talk about tourism now. It's specific to your ministry. So till now, I thought I'll ask broad questions connected to Maharashtra. You may, of course, keep adding, but on your vision. Tourism industry has been badly hit last 11 months, 12 months. What are the specific steps you're going to take to revive tourism in Maharashtra? Is there anything the industry requires? Is there anything in the pipeline? What are you planning to do? Entire industry is crying for help.
Yeah, last year, I mean, no one was thinking of tourism, and I hope that no one was really thinking of tourism because even as today, we don't have tourist visas, given abroad because the country is shut for tourism as of now. But I think the large focus now is domestic tourism. But if you see last year, and it was quite surprising that Maharashtra, in this India Today Big States survey, we jumped from ranking 5 to ranking 1 in the sector of tourism. And that was largely because we focused inwards rather than outwards, and we focused on our own policies, and we made a couple of policy changes that has taken us ahead in terms of the rankings amongst the states. Because largely there was no physical tourism happening, we said let's get our policy push. A couple of things that we've brought in actually. The first one was the ease of doing business. We've reduced licenses to set up a restaurant or a hotel from 70 to 10. The application forms from 70 to 8. And NOCs from 15 NOCs to almost 9 self-certifications. This has helped us to give a portion. After that, in the last 3 or 4 months, the amount of hotel chains, the amount of companies backing these hotels have sent us inquiries, have started hunting for land out here. I think that has been huge, and the response is huge. We're really happy with that response. In next 2 to 3 years, you'll have a lot of hotels, good brands, springing up like mushrooms across Maharashtra. So that is one of the sectors that we are focused on. The other is, of course, a beach tourism policy. We're working on that very closely because when we speak about beaches, we have to manage our environmental norms and tourism. So along with that, be it the boat club, be it beach shacks, be it a couple of blue flag beaches, that's what we're working on very closely with all the concerned agencies. And by December, you'll see a lot of progress on that as well. The agri-tourism policy has taken off really well. Each district has given us a lot of inputs. A lot of new homestays and agri-tourism places have come up. We've signed up with Oyo, we've signed up with Airbnb. So all these things are going on. Now, whilst we do that, of course, we're also focusing on two things. Largely, one is a good hotel to stay in, like a resort or a hotel, or two, it is a thing to do. I think between these both points lie the whole tourism vibe and experience. We're trying to set up both in multiple places. So that has given us a good scope. What we've seen in the last 4 or 5 months is places like Alibag, Ratnagiri, Sindhudurg, Mathiran, Mahabaleshwar. You won't get hotel bookings here for 3 4 months. You won't get villa bookings here for 3 4 months, or homestays also. So people are wanting to step out. People are frustrated sitting in their homes. They want to step out, breathe the fresh air, at least get out of the city for 3 4 days, minimum to at least 2 weeks at large. We're focusing a lot on domestic tourism. I think that is going to be a focal point for the next 2 years, because domestically people are traveling, people are wanting to move around. As long as we can have COVID safe protocols, we will be ensuring that we get more tourism out here.
That's great. And if I may call you Aditya, you have done small things but high impact, like opening up the BMC headquarters for tourists.
Yes.
I mean, it's small, but it's great. Again, you're making separate tracks for tourists. You can get, cycles in major cities. I think the small steps you're taking. I have got 2, 3 more questions. I'm cognizant of the time, 120, 125 to let you go. But I have to ask you about startups, and I have a report here which has just come out, which says that Bangalore had 307 deals in 2020, $4 billion of startups. Delhi, 247 deals, 3 billion. And Mumbai had 170. Mumbai is number 3 in the startup world, startup capital. Do you think you have aspirations as the government to make Mumbai, and more importantly, actually, we are seeing a lot of people from smaller places doing startups, to become the startup capital of India and probably the world, fintech startup capital, edtech? Is there a vision?
Absolutely, there is. We missed out on that bus in the last 3 4 years, and we never saw the revolution coming in. But now that we see it coming in, we've of course started moving towards creating a whole startup policy. That is one. But apart from that, not just Mumbai. I think what will be crucial in the next few years are two major things. One is, the earlier government was already making the Mumbai-Nagpur highway. What we've taken forward from that work is we're looking at setting up 24 smaller cities or nodes along that highway, so that we can really create different clusters for maybe startups, for education, for healthcare, all of that. But along with that, I think largely the environment around the MMR region is going to be conducive for startups. What we see looking at startups is, of course, one is the implementability or the practicality of the startup. That is one. When we look at startups, I'm not just looking at startup, I'm also looking at innovation. So both of these factors combined, we need to give them a certain space to start off with, certain seed capital. So these are some of the things that we're looking at to create an environment that's really not just conducive, but fostering growth in startups. And like I said, when we look at Mumbai as the financial capital, when we look at Mumbai as a key city across India, we're looking not just at Mumbai today, we're looking at the entire MMR. And when we have basic setup with our transport infrastructure, when we have connectivity from our cities of Navi Mumbai, Kharghar, Panvel, then is when we really have affordability coming up with startups. So I think that is something we're looking at overall.
Okay, let's hope this vision comes true, and we have $1 trillion company like Apple coming from Maharashtra within the next couple of years. Let's hope it happens. I'm going to ask you about topic very close to your heart: environment. We all know you're fundamentally an environmentalist. See, during lockdown, all of us suddenly witnessed clear skies, and breathing was easy. And of course, things change rapidly. But what message? You've got 400, top industrialists, SMEs all across Maharashtra listening to you right now. What message do you want to give to business people, business community from Maharashtra of business, environment, hand in hand, coexistence? What message would you like to give?
I think I'd like to divide the answer into actually 3 parts, because just when I was listening to you right now, asking me the question, one is environment in COVID times, or post-COVID times. Two is, of course, business and environment. And three, can we really come together to do something for our environment? I think one of the best side effects of a negative thing like COVID was that our life came to a pause. We started looking at things around. We started observing the small things around. We started looking at the AQI, which we've never seen on our phones. We started looking around through our windows at the possibility of having trees or the sea or the mountains around us. And slowly looking at a month where we had lesser pollution than usual. Now, what has happened after that is just today I was reading a report, which is unfortunate, which is about AQI and pollution. And it states that our pollution levels across the country today are at par with what was pre-COVID times. So I think that is something where we've again got into the regular rut of life. We've started, moving around at a higher speed and forgotten about environment. But again, what we largely realize is we can coexist. We can go hand in hand. I'll give you the story of Maharashtra. Like I said, we have signed up MOUs of almost 1,13,000 crores worth of investment, 85% land allotted. We've moved ahead. Infrastructure work of all the roads, tunnels, bridges, all of that is going on. But along with that, what we did in Maharashtra is a couple of things that we focused to, get forward the environment bit. Most of us live in Mumbai. Most of us have heard about RA. Most of us have been to RA, area which is almost 808.29 acres in the city of Mumbai, which is hustling and bustling with life. We've got that declared as a reserve forest. I don't see any other city in the world in the past 50 years that's been able to do that and declare it as a reserve forest. Now, the whole idea of declaring it as a reserve forest is not just because you have trees existing there, because you have trees on Malabar Hill, you have trees in Chembur, you have trees on Pali Hill. But here you have larger and lesser flora and fauna, different species, right from the leopards to spiders that are endemic to RA, to the rusty spotted cat, to snakes. Now that is worthy of being a forest. And of course, we've got it protected as a reserve forest. For anyone to get it de-reserved and do something else will take a lot of time. So that is one. Two, it's probably the only state government that has declared 12 conservation reserves, out of which 10 conservation reserves have been declared in one go. And it's a whole chain in the Sahyadris, the Western Ghats, which is also one of the most biodiverse hotspots in the world. I think that is something we should be extremely proud of. Three, we've got the Kanargaon Sanctuary declared as the 50th sanctuary in Maharashtra. I think some of these things really that we are focusing on are not just balancing out the industry, but we're also supporting human life and quality of life when we are trying to upgrade our quality of life with good industry, with good incomes, with good GDP for ourselves. When we are increasing our earning and job availability, we also need to increase our oxygen supply in nature. I think we're doing that. Almost 10,000 hectares of mangroves will be protected by June. We've almost reached 8,000 hectares by now, and the rest of them are under final notification of the Indian Forest Act. So I think these are some of the things that we're really focusing on. How do we move ahead from here? Is, of course, a couple of things. One is through the MPCB, largely, which has also, got this perception of being a hurdle for industry. We've started working around closely with the industry department and the MIDC. We said, look, we won't go poking noses into the industry large and by large. What we want from the MIDC in the industry is let's sit together, let's set some goals for ourselves together, and let's try to achieve them together. I think the point here is if we start working together, realize what our goals are, how can we achieve it, and most importantly, why we are setting them, then we can achieve them together in terms of industry and environment. And thirdly, we've started off with this huge competition, firstly within government, because normally as governments, we tend to preach to everyone else about carbon footprint and waste generation and all of that. We've started looking inwards towards our own work, and we've got our collectors, divisional commissioners, CEOs, municipal commissioners working on this thing called Maji Vasundhara. And we're focusing on the 5 elements of nature and how we can better contribute to that and reduce our own carbon footprint as the government. So we're working on that.
Great. So now you know why I asked you about environment at the last, because if I'd asked you as question number 1, you would have spoken for 20 minutes. But you've covered a wide range from grand vision of Maharashtra. You've covered about EODB, about FDI in Maharashtra, you covered our startups, we covered tourism, environment. I can't let you go without asking some rapid fire questions. You know the drill. They're just only 5, 6 and quick response.
I have just come out from the assembly and I've faced a couple of rapid fire, so I know what to say now.
So it will keep you going for the rest of the day. One thing you could have changed in the last 1 year as a minister?
Hopefully there was no COVID.
No
that
COVID.
would be the biggest thing.
So assume at some point of time, hopefully sooner than later, you have a chance to become a minister at the central government, and you have a choice of Minister of Environment or Minister of Tourism. Which one will you select?
I think that's of course a great dream and a great hope I would have in my heart. But currently, I think what I've learned from my father and the chief minister is to focus at the work at hand, and rather than daydreaming right now, I just keep my eyes on what I'm supposed to do for my state and for all of us. And hopefully, if the people like all of that, they will escalate me to a higher level whenever they have to.
You're not responding to it, but we'll assume it's environment because you're close to that, it's close to your heart. So we'll make that assumption. After more than a year as a minister, how will you describe yourself? Wiser or more humble?
I think I would like to be described as a balance of both, because it's very important to be humble all throughout life, and that's what my mother has always taught me, wherever I am. And wiser, yes. Only if I'm wiser will everyone keep inviting me to CII every year. So.
No, we'll invite you always. It's always a pleasure. We know you're elected from Worli, but this is not for Worli constituency. Your top priority, number one priority for Mumbai.
I think Mumbai, we have a couple of priorities. One is when we look at Mumbai, Mumbai is the capital of Maharashtra. So whatever happens in Mumbai largely is a reflection on Maharashtra. We also are the premier city in India, and if you look at Mumbai, the first thing that we're focusing now on is we have almost 16 agencies running Mumbai together. You have the PMC, you have MMRDA, PWD, MSRDC, HADA, SRA, Western Railways, Central Railways, Harbour, you have Aviation Authority of India. What we're looking at now is to have a single authority in Mumbai, a single parent body in Mumbai that will run Mumbai. So when we have a single point authority, you also have the single point responsibility, and you can hold us to more accountability than ever before. The scope of work is much more. In terms of planning, then yes, there's public transport, there's better roads. When I speak of roads, you also have pedestrianization. You also have improvements in terms of the missing links. I'm also speaking of RGs and PGs, playgrounds and recreation grounds, better education, better healthcare. And that's what we've been delivering, and we'd like to escalate that to another level.
That's a great idea, single authority. And the last question, rapid fire, quick response. I know you're also, we had told you 20 minutes, we've extended by 5. In one word, what is your advice to the business community assembled? What is one word you want to tell them?
I think let's coexist and work together for a better future. I think that is very important.
Great, coexist. Thank you.
Symbiotic state and industry.
Okay, coexistence and symbiotic relation. Thank you, Minister. We had just 20 minutes, but you've covered a lot of ground. Any last closing comments you want to make? After that, I'll hand it over to Arvind.
No, I think it's a pleasure being here again after last year, and we'll have hopefully much more interactions. It's also something that gives me great hope, because looking at CII, I think you are celebrating about 125 years of its foundation. And what is very crucial is the industry, and the CII as a forum has lived through not just COVID. I mean, this is one of the challenges we are facing today, and we seem to look at it as a major challenge. But as CII, you've been through World War I, World War II, the Spanish flu, you've been through so many challenges. I think the collective wisdom that we can put together and the strength that you all have to give the support to our country in terms of employability, in terms of what next, the vision forward. I think that is where we need to, like I said, coexist and have a symbiotic relationship. We have a lot to learn from all of you as a sounding board, and I think we should take this seriously to move forward. If we have to take our country forward, we have to coexist and work together. I think that is very important. So I look forward to many more interactions like these, and probably physical ones in the coming future.
Thank you. Coexistence. Over to you, Arvind.
Thank you, Mr. Aditya Thakraji, and it was great pleasure to listen to you, and we are quite optimistic that under your leadership, and the leadership of your father, this will be real magnetic Maharashtra. That's the word we use for Maharashtra, and it will rise further and will be one of the best places to put industry in. Thank you very much for joining today, and we wish a successful session where you had some fire rounds, you said just now, and I hope we are able to have more conclusions in the session. Thank you very much for joining today.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
Now, for my concluding remarks at the outset, I would like to thank every participant for joining CII Maharashtra Annual Meet 2021 and the conference of Gearing Up Maharashtra for the Next Normal, Reset Businesses for Growth Beyond COVID-19. We had a wonderful business session followed by the inaugural session. I would like to thank Shri Subhash Desai, Honorable Minister, Industry and Mining, Government of Maharashtra, for sending his video clip, which was very appropriate and to the point. I would also like to thank Dr. Abalgam, Chief Executive Officer, Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation, for sharing with our members various initiatives planned for the progress of industry and in turn Maharashtra's economy. I would also like to thank Mr. Sunil Mathur, Chairman CII Western Region, and Mr. Tyagarajan, Deputy Chairman CII Western Region, for their presence today and sharing their thoughts on gearing up Maharashtra for next normal. I would also like to thank Mr. Sudhir Mutalik, Vice Chairman CII Maharashtra State Council, for joining and supporting me throughout the year. I want to thank Mr. Govindraj for fantastically moderating the panel discussion. It was truly brought out the best from each of the panelists. Would also compliment the panelists, Mr. Rishi Bagla, Ms. Kashmira, Mr. Shriram, Mr. Thomas, Mr. Ali, for contributing to the panel discussion. It's truly showed the way forward for Maharashtra. We already thanked Mr. Thackeray, and I would also like to thank Mr. Karpe for doing such an excellent moderation and a fireside chat with the Honorable Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, with this we close the CII Maharashtra Annual Meeting 2021 and today's conference, Gearing Up Maharashtra for Next Normal, Reset Business and Growth Beyond COVID-19. We thank everyone for participating in this conference. Thank you once again.
Well done all, well done.
Thank you. So we see everyone.
Congratulations, Arvind, once again, and welcome to Sudhir.
Yeah, we'll at 2 o'clock we will have our meeting for the next committee. Thank you very much.
Good job. Great job.
Very well done as well, Ninad.
Thank you.
All the best, Sudhir, and congratulations, Arvind. Great job. Okay.
Thank you.